Hey, how's it going everyone? And I'm starting off today's video with a disclaimer which is a bit odd, but I feel like it's necessary. Since the release of The Ancient Gods Part 2, there has been a big division in the Doom community, and I feel like while this DLC is open and valid to be criticized, I feel like a lot of it is overblown and completely unnecessary. The rage I'm seeing on social media being tossed towards the developers is completely unwarranted, and the review bombing on Steam is such a knee-jerk reaction. I don't condone any of it, and it's not something I wish to partake in. I personally have already left other gaming communities where I was a participant and a content creator because the growing level of toxicity, I just couldn't take it anymore, and to get by in those communities you had to be just a toxic piece of shit, which is something that I've noticed has also been creeping into the Doom community now for some time, and it's why I have a reluctance to even involve myself deeper into the community. I'm happy to just be on the sidelines, do my own thing at my own pace, and just make whatever I want to make. And while this DLC may not be my favourite of the two, I think id Software really have to be commended for what they have done during this pandemic. The amount of post-launch content we've got for a single player game is actually kind of mind-boggling, and the amount of it that has been given away for free is also mind-boggling. If you look at the event passes and the skins, every other game charges for those. I can't think of any other game that gives away their full battle pass for free. Then of course we got the Super Gore master level, which was a complete re-envisioning of what a master level can be. And on top of that we got 2 DLC expansions which built upon the Doom Eternal experience. I think it's incredible that we got all this post-launch content within 1 year during a global pandemic. Like, I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like to develop all of this while people are working at home. So while people are quick with their knee-jerk reactions to review bomb the game and to send hate towards the developers online, I think they forget the sacrifice that some of these people have been making for your entertainment, and a lot of it has been free. I mean, of course we'd love everything to be just absolute perfection, but given the circumstances of the situation that the entire world is in right now, I think we got a really good deal. Game development is not easy and no developer out there is perfect. I think any criticism should be constructive and honest, and I think the knee-jerk reactions and hatred, there's just absolutely no place for that stuff. I know a lot of you subscribed to me because of my Ancient Gods Part 1 review, because it was a light-hearted and fun video. So let's try and recapture the magic. Let's move on from this drama or whatever the hell you want to call it, and let's celebrate the fun that is Doom Eternal before this community rips and tears itself apart. The Ancient Gods Part 2 Doom Eternal, the sequel to The Ancient Gods Part 1 Doom Eternal, which was an expansion of Doom Eternal, which is a spin-off sequel to Doom. And I use the term spin-off because I am now firmly convinced that 2016 was always meant to be a reboot, and then Doom Eternal came along and everything started to be connected here and there, and it's all a bit of an incoherent mess. It always has been, and now the DLC Part 2 just adds more mess to the story. On a surface level, Doom Eternal's story has always been fine. The earth is overrun by demons, the Doomslayer wants to go back and eradicate the demons, and in turn stop the Kanye West maker from harvesting souls from earth. Deeper story aspects such as the lore and character motivations always felt improvised to me, as if they were making it up as they go along. Kinda like they came up with the storyline first and then just found characters to slot into spaces to make it work. And then of course there are the plot twists. Doom Eternal has one plot twist. This character is not who you think they are. Samuel Hayden, hey, he's the Seraphim. Vega, he's actually the father. The Doomslayer, he's actually Doom Guy. My wife is pregnant, but I'm actually not the dad because during our entire 4-year marriage we have not slept together once. Jacinta, if you're watching this video, we need to have some stern words very soon. And DLC 2 is no different with how it tells its story and its twists. The devil, oh, he was actually God all along. Doomslayer, his divine powers aren't actually divine, they're satanic. A part of the devil is within him, which is kind of ironic because he hates demons and the devil so fucking much. Damn, if you think about it, they used this twist twice with Vega. First we thought he was just a supercomputer AI, but turns out Vega was actually God. But it turns out that Vega is not actually the original God. Vega usurped the real God, which is actually the devil now, to become God, so he's kind of a false God. So do you see the point I'm making here? On the surface level, Doom Eternal's story is fine. There's a demonic invasion of Earth, you want to stop it, get rid of all the demons, save mankind, and in turn kill kill the devil. That's fine, but once you dig deeper, it's really stupid and incoherent. It always has been since Doom Eternal, and DLC 2 is no different. My only real gripe with DLC 2's story is that the devil is such wasted potential. So many years anticipating finally seeing Satan in a Doom game, and this is what we get. It was just underdeveloped, undercooked, rushed. There wasn't enough time. I think Satan deserved a full game. I think there needed to be a full story arc in one full game of the Doomslayer versus Satan, and this is what we got. And you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. People always like to bring up the quote by John Carmack that story in games don't really matter, but that was a different time and this is a different place. Doom Eternal was 100% pushing its story up the priority list. You could nearly make the argument for 2016. The story kind of hid in the background, it was there if you wanted it, but gameplay was always at the forefront. Doom Eternal has always been pushing its story. Some people like it, some people hate it. Me, I don't really care for it, never have, and I don't think I ever will. So DLC 2 having a bad story is like telling me that my wife is having an affair. Disappointed, but not surprised. But every negative has a positive, and what I will say about the Ancient Gods Part 2 story is that the cutscenes in this DLC are the best cutscenes across the entire Doom Eternal experience. Honestly, the production value, animations, what have you, are all fantastic. The cutscenes are chef's kiss. So let's talk about the music. In my part 1 review, I talked about the music for about 5, 6, 7 minutes. I can't remember how long it was, but a lot of people said I talked about the music for way too long. So I'm going to take that criticism on board, and we're going to get through the music section quickly. I think the music in the Ancient Gods Part 2 absolutely slaps, and Andrew Hultschult and David Levy deserve a pat on the back for taking this gargantuan task on their shoulders. It was never going to be an easy position to step into, but I think they've done an amazing job across both DLCs with the music. They have captured the essence of Doom in their music, and I think their ambient music throughout the quieter sections of the levels are also great. The UAC Atlantica theme is still my favourite track across the entire Doom Eternal experience, and for the Ancient Gods Part 2, I would heavily recommend going onto YouTube and listening to the Reclaimed Earth sections and the Amora sections. They are fucking amazing, they absolutely slap, and I love that they brought back the demonic choir also. So to wrap up on the music, I think it's great, amazing, it was left in great hands. Very good, very nice, I like. Riding dragons and giant robot lads. It sounds like an absolute fantasy land. Well, it is, and I'm gonna go get inside it. So come and join me in the fantasy. First of all, we have the World Spear, which is a lovely little location in Argent Denor. Lovely blue skies, lush green forestry. It's just a lovely looking map, really. I've seen people complain that this area is too vibrant, and personally I don't really... Hey, get out my fucking shot! I'm trying to make a video here. Sorry about that, but personally, yeah, I don't see a problem with this map being too pretty. I don't think there's such a thing as being too pretty. It's a fun map, I like it. It might be my favourite from the whole DLC. There's even a few blue mushrooms over here, man, if you're feeling a bit adventurous, you know what I mean, huh? We are also introduced to meat hook platforming, which is really fun. It's just a shame that it kind of gets forgotten about later on in the DLC. Followed by an introduction to our first new enemy, the Screecher, who walks with the exaggerated swagger of Prince Philip. Screechers behave somewhat similarly to spirits. If you kill one, then it will buff all demons in the area, so you have to be careful where you're firing your rockets. Screechers are easy to avoid, but they're also threatening enough that you don't want to set them off. I think they're a good enemy and a good addition to Doom Eternal's combat loop. Up next is the Armoured Baron, which is very similar to a regular Baron, but with some extra steps. When the Armoured Baron is winding up an attack with its Morning Star, it will flash green similar to a Marauder, and you can shoot it with a precision weapon to destroy its armour. Now you're fighting a regular Baron, but against the clock. The armor will regenerate very quickly, so you have to get your combos off to try and kill the Baron before it regenerates. The precision bolt method is definitely the quickest and most effective, but if precision aiming isn't your forte, then you can also use the plasma rifle to destroy its armor. Just keep shooting and it will eventually break, or you can even use the microwave beam. But the same rules still apply here. Once you destroy the armor, you're on a timer to kill the Baron before the armor regenerates. The Armored Baron is definitely my favorite new enemy. It's very high pressure, it's an intense intense fight, and it requires you to pull off your combos. It's only just dawned on me how much new stuff is introduced in the first mission of this DLC, but alas, we shall continue this journey through the fantasy land. And then we quite literally get our hands on the new weapon, the Sentinel Hammer, which is admittedly a really fun weapon, but also super duper broken, and I think it plays a huge role into why so many people find this DLC much easier than DLC 1. Not only does the hammer stun enemies of all sizes and drop ammo, but by upgrading the hammer you get more ammo, stuns last longer, and you can get health and armor back. It is the perfect one-size-fits-all panic button, and it's just way too easy to abuse. The hammer trivializes a lot of fights and encounters, and I think it needs to be tweaked back. You could just not use the weapon, but it's just so damn fun that I want to use it. In my opinion, it is a great weapon. I love it. It's really fun to use. I like using it. It just needs to be tweaked and dialed back a little bit. It's just a bit too overpowered at the moment. Next up, we have the Stone Imp enemy, which is very... Hang on a second, getting the phone call. Hello? Oh shit, really? Have I? Okay. Okay, thank you, bye bye. Yeah, so my manager just informed me that the video has gone over 10 minutes, so I need to end it now and just put on a bunch of ads. And shit, I had a lot more stuff to say. I guess I'll just put it in the next video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for making it this far. If you did, if you liked it, leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. I can't believe I got you with that again. This is like the worst recurring joke I have in my videos, and I can't believe I keep getting you with them every time. Every time! So stone imps are kind of like regular imps, but they have hardened skin, so you have to kill them with the full auto mod and the shotgun. They can also turn into these like fireballs and whip around the arena really quick, and they're kind of just okay to fight. They don't really add anything new to the combat loop for me other than using the full auto mod and the shotgun, and that's about it. Next we have the Gore Nest escalation events, which are the perfect answer to people who just want to play through the game, enjoy some music, kill some demons, and for players who are looking for a tough and challenging experience. These bad boys have two phases. Phase 1 is mandatory and you need to do it to progress the level, whereas Phase 2 is optional, but it's a much harder fight. The Ancient Gods Part 1 really catered towards hardcore players, and a lot of the casual player base felt left out, and I think that these escalation events are a great idea. It includes everybody, and if you just want to get through Phase 1 and continue on with the game, that is perfectly fine. And if you're a hardcore player who wants a more intense experience, there is a Phase 2 for you to test yourself. Personally, I love when the game really challenges me, but not everybody wants to be put under intense pressure while playing a game, so I think by making the harder sections optional is a great design choice, and everybody wins basically. Difficulty is a slippery slope, and Doom Eternal is on the verge of crossing over into difficulty equals better experience, and even though I do love difficult games, I love playing this game at the highest level that I can play it at, not every player signed up for that, and that's not what these games were always about. It's about having fun at whatever level you enjoy having fun at, so making the difficult stuff optional I think is a fantastic idea. If anything, these escalation events just made me really wish there was an official horde mode for this game. It needs it so badly. Escalation Gore Nests are absolutely a step in the right direction. It's just a shame that they came pretty much at the end of this game cycle. And while on the subject of difficulty, it's probably best to just address this topic quickly now and then move on. A lot of people found Part 2 easier than Part 1, and this equals the end of Doom somehow. I also personally found Part 2 easier than Part 1. I was a small bit disappointed with it, but it wasn't an absolute deal breaker for me. I still very much enjoyed my playthrough of this DLC. Admittedly, not as much as I enjoyed playing Part 1, but that was probably always going to be the case because I absolutely adore the UAC Atlantica mission, and I don't think anything could top that for me. However, I will say this. I have not beat the base game of Doom Eternal or the Ancient Gods Part 1 on Ultra Nightmare. I've tried and I've prepared and I have not done it. With the Ancient Gods Part 2, zero preparation, I beat it first try on Ultra Nightmare. That's not an ego thing or me hyping myself up. I do think I'm a good player, but I don't think it should have been a case where I beat it first try so easily. And if I break that Ultra Nightmare run down to the finer details, there is one thing that stands out greatly: the Sentinel Hammer. I used and abused the ever-living shite out of that thing, and it just makes so many fights easy. It's the perfect solution to every enemy, to every situation, the perfect panic button. And I think if it didn't exist or if it was nerfed, I would not have beat the game on Ultra Nightmare first try. And while the Ancient Gods Part 2 may be easier than Part 1, I think the hammer plays a huge role in this. And speaking of Part 1, there is uproar on social media because apparently it got nerfed into the ground and it's now completely gutted. Like, you'd swear the world ended or something the way some people are going on. Like, it's been nerfed into the ground, it's unplayable, Doom is dead, what is going on? Which is massively overblown, and I think most people who are overreacting to this haven't even gone back to play it for themselves. And if some of these people have played it for themselves and are still overreacting like this, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I think you've put too much of your own personal stock into this game and you need to just relax a little bit. Like, it's not that serious. Forgive me for swearing in front of the shrine of Hugo Martin, but god damn, this whole situation is just, it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. Ugh, I'm over it. Mission number 2, Reclaimed Earth, takes the Doomslayer to Detroit, and there actually was no demonic invasion here. Detroit just looks like this, apparently, yeah. So what new was introduced in this mission? Well, fuck all, to be honest with you. They kind of blew their full load on the first level. But there's some things here that are new, so let's get into it. So we have our first new enemy, the Cursed Prowler, which takes an already annoying enemy and makes it even more annoying. But at least it's green now, so you don't confuse it for imps anymore when you want a chainsaw. If you get hit by a Cursed Prowler, then you become cursed. Your screen turns green, you slowly lose HP, and you lose the ability to double jump and dash. Oh, and the only way to kill this fucker is with a blood punch, so if you don't have any blood punches stored away, then prepare to panic. I think the Cursed Prowler has interesting mechanics, but it can become tedious during arena fights. However, there are only like 4 of them in the whole game, and I already know when and where they spawn, so I can kill them the second they come into the arena anyway, so they're a bit of a non-issue now. I think they have good potential to be used in certain areas. Like, imagine being cursed by a prowler and you have to chase him through hallways that are filled with tentacles. That would be an absolute fucking nightmare, but a fun idea for a master level. Hugo Martin, if you're listening right now, send me the check. But as it stands, they're kind of an enemy that are just there and they're really easy to deal with because, like I said, I know when and where they spawn. And while Mission 2 doesn't have a lot of new content like Mission 1 did, I just want to highlight a few areas and say that this arena right here is a lot of fun. Wait, what the fuck is that? Shouldn't have taken those blue shrooms earlier, man. You're fucked in the head. Next up we have the highly requested chain gunners, which personally I thought was always a nostalgic request anyways. I didn't care if they ever made it into the game, and I think now that they are here, a lot of people are saying, yeah, damn, nostalgia is a powerful thing. So yeah, basically their shields are impenetrable, so you just detonate a rocket behind them and they're dead. It's not rocket science, but I mean, it might be because you use rockets. Also, the Bloodmakers got a nerf. They die really easily now, but I can imagine that killing these dudes with a controller on console was probably a pain in the arse, so it was probably for the better that they got nerfed. That about does it for this level. There is an escalation Gore nest, and the second phase is no pushover. I would say it's probably one of the harder encounters in this entire DLC, and it's the one that gave me the most trouble. Welcome back to Hell, which has the most impressive backdrops in this entire DLC, but is also the most rushed and incomplete level. It's short, quick to get through, and other than the fight with the 2 marauders, it's kind of forgettable. I had 2 different instances where the game bugged out and I couldn't progress any further. This area here is supposed to spawn in stone imps and an arachnotron and a pain elemental, but it just never happened, so I was trapped here. I did jump off the map to see if I could maybe trigger them to spawn, but then this just happened. I fell through the map forever. And then there's this arena here. After killing every enemy, it wouldn't trigger where I needed to go next, and I was pretty much locked here again, and I needed to reload the save and do it all over again. And then you have these primitive fuckers here where it's probably an insult to even call them AI, so we'll just call them A because there's 0 intelligence here. They pose absolutely 0 threat. If you sneezed on them, they would die, and they explode into a piñata of ammo. Amora is grand in spectacle, but it's kind of lacking in substance, and I only wish that it got more time to be developed more, to add more areas and make it more memorable. The sheer scale of the introductory cutscene and even the story implications of this place are amazing, but Amora as a gameplay playground is my first disappointment with this DLC. And that carries over to Mission 4, which is a boss fight against the Dark Lord. There's a lot to say about this boss fight, and I think it could even be a video of its own, but I'm not going to do that today. Being quite honest, I do like the idea and the premise of this boss's design. The fact that it's 5 phases though, and each phase practically plays out the exact same is where the issue lies. Heck, I'm even fine with like the first 2 phases being more or less mirrors of one another, but the fact that it goes on for 5, it's just too much. It just begins to feel repetitive and boring, and again, I can't help but feel like this was just rushed and they didn't have enough time to realise what they really wanted to do with it. I really wish they had a few more months to just really iron out these last 2 missions. One final showdown against Satan for the fate of the universe just did not hit the levels of epic that it needed to hit, which may be a subjective opinion. I know lots of people that like the boss fight, that love the ending, but for me, it was just a bit underwhelming. But does that mean that it was a terrible DLC? No. All things considered, I am satisfied with my purchase of the Year 1 pass, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time spent with Doom Eternal over the past year. And even at the off chance that an id Software developer happens to be watching this video, I just want to say thank you. The first person shooter genre has always been a favourite of mine, but admittedly about 10 years ago I really started to fall out of love with it. That is of course until Doom 2016 existed, and ultimately Doom Eternal, which are some of the most fun games I have ever played. Not only have I really enjoyed your games, but you have also reignited my passion for the first person shooter genre in general. It's been one hell of a ride, boys, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds. And there's not much else to say other than we began our journey pissing and shitting in a sarcophagus, and we shall end our journey pissing and shitting in a sarcophagus. For our pissing and shitting is eternal.